Today we're going to look at Scratch to make a game, to learn a bit about coding. And first of all, we have to sign up to Scratch if you haven't already. And when you sign up, you will have a login and password. You should keep track of this so you can save all of your projects in your folder. When you want to create something, we go to Create. And this is our key screen. First, I'll give a brief introduction of the screen. Scratch uses sprites. We have sprites here. We can create sprites. We can search for sprites. And we can draw or paint our own sprites, and we can add them. Each sprite has a code section, and the code section includes blocks to make the sprite do things. We can scroll down through the number of different actions and instructions, which are all color coded, and they're grouped and color coded according to motion, looks, sound, events, and other elements there. We can add extensions, but that will be in a later lesson. We can control the screen and put the stage up in the top right hand corner to give ourselves more room to code. You can make that larger, and each sprite has a series of costumes. We can add multiple costumes and switch between them. Once again, we can load the costumes from here or draw them on, and each sprite can have a sound associated with it. The sprites exist on a stage, and here's the stage over here, and we can add a number of backdrops. We can search for backdrops, or we can draw our own backdrops on the stage. And the stage, when that's selected, we're on the stage. We can put code in the stage. We can have a number of backdrops. We can add sounds to the stage. If we're on the stage, then the code will be associated with stage. If we click on a sprite, then the code we're creating here is associated with that sprite. Stage, no sprite, sprite. If I add another sprite, then I can see up here which code is being associated with that sprite. So I have the sprite selected. This is the one that I'm working on currently. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we are going to, and you can see it saves your projects automatically. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to delete those two sprites, and I'm going to draw a ball. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to grab an ellipse. I want a circle, and I'm going to set the color so that it's white. I'm going to draw my ball here, and I have to, if I hold it down, I can see that's the center point, and I have to make sure the center point is on the center of the ball. So I line these two up, and I think I might actually make my ball a little bit smaller than that. I'm going to line it up here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here for my coding. Up here under sprite, I'm going to name this. I'm going to call it ball. I'm also going to draw another sprite, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to grab a rectangle. I'm going to keep the same fill color, and I'm going to make a rectangular paddle about that size. Again, I'm going to highlight it, move it, and align it with this center point here. Perhaps I'll make it a little bit narrower, but I have to get that center point aligned. That's the important part. And I'll come over here and down on my sprite, I'm going to call it paddle. On my stage, I'm going to go to my backdrop, and I'm going to make my backdrop dark. So what I want to do is grab myself a filled rectangle and set it to black. And then I'm going to click away, come over here, and fill the whole thing with that dark rectangle. Let's just do that. This is going to be my backdrop. And I can name that if I want, but I'm just going to leave it. I can name it over here in backdrop, but I'm just going to leave it as stage. So I'm going to come back here. There's my paddle. Here's my ball. I think the ball probably needs to be a bit smaller. So I can reset. One of the ways I can do that is I can reset. If the ball's selected, I can set the size to, what should I say, 50%? Okay, and my paddle, that probably needs to come down quite a bit. Let's set that initially to 50%. Now let's see. Okay, that's enough for now. I'm going to set my paddle over here and going to start with my ball. And here I'm going to add some code for my ball.